Good evening, everybody. Happy Monday. Good evening, everybody. Oh, hang on. Don't want to do that. Okay, there we go. That would have been bad. It's a good thing I'm muting the actual desktop audio. But anyway, how are you guys all doing tonight? Give me a thumbs up that you guys can actually hear me. But considering that just talked back at me, I'm pretty sure you guys are here. There we go. Yeah, it was weird. I had top chat up and nothing was showing up. Now everybody's here. Alrighty, well, thanks Turtlefoot Mining for showing up. MC, Tech Shinji, TPS Miner, Intergraph Guy, Crypto Bedell, CC. Thanks for the info you provided today. Appreciate it. Homemade eggnog. Can never get into eggnog myself, but hey, go for it. Thanks Super Safe for showing up. Tony, Jeffrey, Mastermind, thank you for being here, and thanks again for the help last night when we were upgrading my daughter's computer last night. And let's just say he saved us a lot of time by reminding us of a few things that we would have probably eventually remembered, but it was just better. There was actually one thing he actually did save us from by actually installing the CPU first, then upgrading the BIOS. Wasn't planning on talking about that. We could talk about that a little bit. Big Wooly, thanks for being here. Pearl Rival, appreciate you being here. Magic Lucky, Sparrow Crypto. Alrighty, thanks guys. Now that we're done with the roll call, let's get into what I was planning on talking about tonight. And that is the title of tonight's, which is Bellatrix. That was on the thumbnail. And they did decide today to name the merge fork Bellatrix. So just like there was Arrow Glacier with the difficulty bomb, just like there was the London fork with 1559, they're naming this series of forks, the merge on, they're naming them after stars. So all the proof of stake. So I forget what the previous one was, but I believe it was also named after a star as well. But anyway, so Bellatrix was the name that was decided. That's what I predicted was going to be the name last week. So anyway, so you'll be hearing that a lot more on top of hearing the merge and ETH2 and every other way that they're going to be referring to the merge. So anyway, wanted to get that out of the way. So Bellatrix is the name. The other thing I wanted to talk about tonight, I actually came out with a video this morning about Hive OS pricing, and there's been some discussion amongst Discord and things like that. And it's not cut and dry as to the best way to do things. And I know that CC actually, please friend you again. I've already friended you. What are you talking about? Are you saying I'm not friended with you on Discord? That cannot be possible. Anyway, so he actually brought up the fact that you can actually get an additional 3% bonus if you fund the account with USDC, USDT, and there's another stable coin that I'm drawing a blank on. But the problem with that is, well, and the problem with funding anything via crypto is, what is the cost going to be? And everything I've been reading about funding it that way is that the cost is much, much higher. And the way I've been doing it, I've actually been funding it via Litecoin, which has lower fees. So that's the way I've been funding it. So I've been getting the 30% bonus by funding, well, only one time I funded it that much because I haven't had that many rigs for that long. But the last time I funded it, I funded 3 months worth and got the 30% bonus. So basically giving it 4 months at what I was at that point. And again, it was a very, very low fee. And at any rate, that's what I've found to be the best for me. And I have not looked at what the cost would be. Well, I shouldn't say that. I tried researching today, like what are the costs if you fund via USDC, and all I could find was people complaining that it was costing them like $20, $15 to fund a very, very small amount of money. So yeah, I don't have any data to back that up other than you know, what people are saying. So your mileage may vary, but the way I've been doing it has been via Litecoin. So for those people that, yeah, text Shinji, it's not Beetlejuice. It's Bellatrix. Yeah, Betelgeuse was one of the nominations for the fork. So sorry, I digress. So did anybody else have any questions about the funding of the funding of Hive OS and how the billing works? And if nobody does, I can go on to the next topic. Oh, I see Intra Guy 041. He does LTC as well. Yeah, it works for me. And like I said, it can be a little confusing at first. You're like, I'm sending Litecoin or some crypto to this address and it's going to magically show up in my account. You're always kind of questioning it that first time you send it, which is why the first time I funded it with not a lot because I wanted to make sure it worked. Then the next time I did enough to get the 30% bonus. So anyway, so if there aren't any questions about, oh, wait a minute, workers versus rigs on Hive. Okay. So workers are rigs. It's the terms are used interchangeable. So you can have, how do I put this? So you can have, actually they're not interchangeable. So let's say that you have, I'll give you, for instance, on one of my rigs, I have 6 5700 XTs and one 5600 XT that mine together as one worker. And then I also have a 1660 Ti on that same rig. And that's a separate worker. In fact, let me see if I can bring this up. So these are the rigs. When you pull up your farm, these are your rigs. Now, if I pull up rig 1, you'll actually see there's 2 separate workers. So you have your all the things I've got on Team Red Miner and the one that I've got on T-Rex. So they're looking at rigs. So if you have one rig with multiple workers, say you're mining 3 different coins, for instance, they're still only going to bill for the one rig. I'm not sure what terminology they use, but if you go to Ethermine, they classify number of workers, and so does 2Miners. They classify number of workers based upon this. So this would be one worker on Ethermine, and this would be another worker on Ethermine. So hopefully that clarifies it. And actually this one is one of the only, I've got 2 rigs right now in Ethermine, and I've got a couple others on 2Miners right now. I'll go into that a little bit tonight as well. Let's see. Big Wooly, how you gonna just call me out in today's video? You trying to get Hive to fix the ZIL thing? So, hey, I'm just calling them as I see them. It wasn't a matter. They're not gonna watch my video. You don't need to worry about that. Anyway, and Big Wooly, I think you just called yourself out on that one. Anyway, oh, sorry. Yes, I didn't switch the scene. That would be helpful. So let me move over to that. Hold on one second. There we go. That's a little better. So this is my rig 1. So the Team Red Miner is the one worker and the T-Rex is the other worker. That a little bit better. So 1660 Ti's is the one, and then the rest is on the other worker. And wow, my AMD's actually been up for 2 days and 6 hours without crashing. That's a better than average run. AMDs tend to be a little quirky, shall we say. Alrighty. So I appreciate you letting me know that. Let's see. Yeah, if you do have something to let me know, especially if you need to state something like that, definitely please tag me. Let me do that. There we go. All right. So Tech Shinji says, I noticed it don't take it off if you have ETH miner on the flight sheet, but no ETH actually mining, like having a CPU rig with a flight sheet that also has ETH mining, but inactive. I'm not sure what you're saying. If you have graphics cards mining ETH, I would think it would charge, but you know, I can't say that for sure. I'm on 5 rigs now. So for me, they're going to charge me all 5 no matter what. So I don't get one free. I don't get the free if it's not mining ETH, all that kind of stuff. I don't get that anymore. So I have thought about changing things around, trying to get the 2 graphics cards I have on my CPU mining rig and getting that actually onto another rig to make it 10 graphics cards on that particular rig. But I have not gotten around to doing that as I don't have room on that frame. That will go into one of the things I want to talk about a little bit later. Let's see. So Tech Shinji, like this, you have a flight sheet with a CPU miner and an Ethereum miner without any graphics cards on the rig because it's still on the flight sheet but inactive. It still charges you. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's going to charge you for the CPU miner. It's not going to charge you for Ethereum if it's not mining Ethereum. So that's one of the things I noticed, and that's one of the things I mentioned in the video, is if the rig is down or you have a card down or whatever, especially if the total rig's down for any period of time, being at 5, it then will take you below 5, and all of a sudden I save about 20 cents on the day. So that works out pretty well. Tyson says, my AMD rig has been up since just after the tire came to visit, just over 12 days, 6 times Vega 56. Nice. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I do push mine pretty hard. So, in fact, they've lowered their hash rate as they're getting a little older. These used to be closer to 56. Now they're close to 55 and a half, 55.6. But these, the Sapphire Pulse 5700 XTs, they've always been about 56.8. So, this is the only one that's a little quirky at times. It's gone down to 56.26, but, nothing to complain about. That's for sure. They just mine away and, generally don't give me any troubles. Only time it gave me troubles was when I tried to upgrade to the current, kernel. And it did not like the new drivers from AMD. It gave me all kinds of problems. I was getting all kinds of rejects, everything. So I just went back to the old kernel and everything was fine. So I'm just going to leave it there. So you can see that I'm on quite an old version. So basically I'm on one from April of 2021 with the current one showing here as, that's weird. Why is this showing 20 instead of 21? That is weird. Saying this is the latest. Yeah, this is kind of strange the way this numbering has come up. This went to 11/5 of 2020. And then there's 11/21 of 2021, but there's newer ones than this. All right, whatever. Not going to worry about it because I'm not upgrading anyway. So, okay. Well, let me move on to the next subject, which I'm not sure how many people incorporate this, but if you have a personal PC, that you mine on, and you have multiple cards in your PC, I don't know about you, but I like to game, like to stream. All of those things kind of conflict with mining a bit. You might be able to do it, but as you've seen from some of my past streams, if I don't reset the clocks and get it back into base mode, it can lead to problems. So I actually just got a card on Saturday. I got in fact, got the box right here. I got an Asus Dual 3060 on Saturday. and decided I was just going to install it directly into this computer. So with installing it directly into this computer, I just wanted to get it up and running and just didn't even bother. I just had it add into the current miner and change some clocks around and that type of thing. But, you know, didn't make any significant changes. And I hadn't mined with 2 cards in a personal computer for a while. So when I was thinking about streaming tonight, I said, okay, I need to go back to the way I used to do things. And that is separate out the miners so that you have one miner on each graphics card, so that when you want to go game, all you got to do is shut down one, but your second one keeps mining. So that's what I did. In this particular case, my 3070 is kind of quirky. It works better in NB miner. In most other cases, I would in all other cases, I would recommend T-Rex. That seems to be the best in my mind. So I have everything else that I have LHR mining on T-Rex. So I put the second card, the 3060, on T-Rex with all the overclocks and everything like that. And then did this one on 37. So actually right now I have that card mining. So this is the 3060 that's mining, and it's having no effect because the stream isn't using this graphics card. So it's full hash. You can see that it's not trying to pull anything from this card. Everything's being used on the main card, on the main GPU. So anyway, if you have a similar situation to that, you may want to keep that in mind. It's really easy to do. You can run 2 instances of the same miner. If you want to run 2 instances of T-Rex, that is perfectly fine. You just have to have 2 separate bat files and need to put in the -D space and then the number of the graphics card. So let's say you even had 3 graphics cards on your personal PC and you wanted to run the second 2 separately from the first one. Yeah, you just put in -D space, and then let's say the first one was 0 and the second 2 are 1 and 2. You would just put 1,2. And then your other miner, you would just put -D space 0 for the first card. So lots of things you can do there, and that way you can keep more of your stuff up and running. So like right now I have my CPU miner off and I have my first GPU off from mining. So I saw a couple of things pop up here. Oh, TBS Miner noticed that too on Hive. It looks like they pulled back one of the releases. Yeah. And in fact, one of the things I've always noticed, if you ever see this where it says miners update with no detail, do not upgrade. I've never heard somebody upgrade to like something that looks like this and have it be a good outcome. I don't know why this happens, but it can really put your rig in a funky state where now you just basically have to do a Hive replace is usually the best way to fix it. So always make sure that when you're upgrading that you have detail as to what is actually in the release. Anyway, all right, let's see. Ties in. I keep mining clocks while gaming with dual 3090 liquid cooled, so I don't see any issues using miner stat, where I can turn off a single card while it runs with the other. Yeah, it's not that you can't game with it. You can. I just know that we've seen it where it can create, especially when you're playing multiplayer games, we've definitely seen in specific instances where it can cause lag, especially things like Halo, that you're trying to get the maximum FPS. Well, if you're mining, you're not going to get that maximum FPS. So it's not that you can't game, but it can reduce your performance because your card is sharing performance with something else. So now if you have your 3090s in dual mode, I can't think of what that's called, but basically you have like a bridge over the top of them, so they're acting as one. Well, yeah, then that's a little bit of a different story. You've got very, very strong computer, and yeah, a lot of games it won't even blink at that, and yeah, you continue to mine as well. I know that Tane's mines with his 3090 when he games, but occasionally that doesn't always work out. It basically will not mine anywhere near the hash rate that it would normally. Let's see. Are you using OBS to stream? Yes, I am using OBS to stream. When I use OBS, it seems to impact mining, even though I configure it to use the non-mining GPU. So that's a really interesting comment. I don't know why, but when I used to have 2 GPUs, actually when I even had 3 GPUs in my computer, it would use, I'd have things on my computer, including streaming, that would use the second GPU instead of the first GPU. And I don't know why. I tried finding a way to make sure that I could make that use the first GPU. And I read up a number of articles that said you could do this, you could do that. I couldn't get it to work. And so when I would go into like Control Alt Delete, it would basically, you can look to see which GPU is being used. And you can see what applications are using that second GPU. So I have seen that before. Right now, with having just installed this one, I'm good. It is only using that first GPU. It is not, none of my applications at this point are using the second GPU. So yeah. Oh yeah, it's SLI. Thanks guys, both CC and Tizen, appreciate it. Let's see. Oh, that's kind of cool. I haven't used Phoenix Miner in forever. NVLink, yes. Right. SLI is dead. Yes, that's true. NVLink is what is used now. So anyway, that was, I just wanted to bring that up. So if you are having issues with, or you do want to keep that second GPU mining, it is definitely a solution for that. But you definitely want to look at your task manager and look to see what applications are using what GPU. Because if you're using a number of applications at the same time, like Chrome is using for the first GPU and OBS is using the second GPU, well, then it's not really going to help you much, because most people need both of those in order to read the stream on Chrome, as well as being able to obviously use OBS. Alrighty, let's go on to the next topic I had, which was heat chimney. So I've been debating, been talking to my wife about, plans for the basement, and, everything's kind of spread out a little bit in the basement, and they're on the short HDX Home Depot racks. So it looks a little messy down there. So she was like, hey, could we maybe consolidate, put it on a taller rack? I was like, sure, that might work. And then I started thinking about how is that going to affect the temperature of the rigs? So obviously we all know that heat rises. So if you're putting rig on top of rig, on top of rig, on top of rig, then you are going to have issues with that heat accumulation as it goes up. So one of the things I was thinking about doing was getting a wide shelving unit, wire shelving unit, and then just offsetting them so that it's going to be wide. So it'll be about either 48 or 60 inches wide. And then that way I can offset them so that there's a lot of space between each unit. So yeah, there'll be some heat that will rise, but it'll give it more time to distribute. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. I have 4 rigs down there, so I could put my one that I got on my sluice frame, hopefully put that one probably not on the bottom. I'll probably put my CPU miner. No, I'll probably put that one on the bottom actually. Then I'll put the CPU miner up from that, and then put the 2 RevTech ones up from that. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Just curious if anybody else has any experience with that issue of that heat chimney effect. People that might have things in a grow tent. Red Fox, looks like Red Fox may have been here. Oh, there he is. Hey, Red Fox. Curious if he's seen that effect as well. And so I'm kind of going back and forth as to how to better consolidate the rigs. So again, they're not all spread out and can move around a lot better in the basement. And with my daughter coming home, definitely basically over the summer, she's going to be living with us after she graduates. She got a job. Sweet. 3 miles from our house. It's a beautiful thing. So anyway, just curious if anybody has any feedback on that. Red Fox, you got anything to say about that? Anybody else? I know I did find one thing interesting. You know, Red Panda used to have the racks, and now he switched to all single layer. And I'm wondering, I have not talked to him about this. I was just thinking about this today. I haven't talked to him about it at all. So I am curious if he's seen a significant difference in the temperature of his rigs by spreading them out horizontally as opposed to stacking them. Oh, okay. You're driving. Well, hey, thanks for tuning in while you're driving. Hopefully we can provide some level of entertainment here for you while you're driving. So at any rate, so there is one other thing. I didn't list this. So this will be kind of like a bonus topic. So one of the things that I am going to be putting out a video on, not tomorrow, but Wednesday, is I am going to be testing. Well, right now I'm currently testing mining to 2 miners, and I've set it up so that I get paid out in BTC. Now, what's interesting about this is that, in fact, let me bring it up here. So it pulls it up here and it says Ethereum miners could now get payouts in BTC and Nano with no fees and no delays. Huh. That makes it sound like they're not paying out once a day like they originally said they were going to do. And that the original, like if you go in and actually set up your BTC payout, it says that your fees are going to be 20 cents or less, which is completely reasonable. So, but now they're saying that there's no fees is what this says. So I'm curious as to which it is. Now, obviously this is evolving. They're trying to basically have a competitive advantage by lowering the cost of getting payouts when mining Ethereum. That's absolutely phenomenal. So they may be just improving it where they don't have to get the fees anymore. So anyway, so that was, I'll be basically showing my payout and whether or not I get fees or not. And the other thing is, you've heard me talk about it before. You heard me talk about it this morning. You know, why do I not mind a Hive on? It's free to get payouts because it doesn't pay well enough. So if we look at, well, let's first look at the mining pool stats. Do you remember back at the beginning of the year where we were told if you can just centralize 40% of the hash rate on one pool, we're going to have to take notice, because then that's getting dangerous to a 51% attack. You notice that Ethermine is trickling up to almost 31% of the entire hash rate. That is, in my mind, getting dangerously close. I love Ethermine, but I also don't like seeing greater than 25% at a central point. So that kind of motivated me to kind of look as well. So 2 miners is is in the top 6. They've been doing really well. Now, I looked at mining pool profits and I wanted to compare what the profitability was with Ethermine and 2 miners. And if you look out 60 days, they're 5.62% below the top performer for that period of time, while Ethermine's at 2.7. So it's close. It's not great, but if you're paying about 1%, 1.5% in payout to Ethermine, because you're trying to get payouts at 0.1, well, that's going to put you at about 4.2 or so. So you're getting where it's really close. So if you are a smaller miner where you say maybe you only have 100 mega hash, maybe you only have 50 mega hash, it will make a big difference to be able to get quicker payouts on 2 miners without having a large fee. So this has been getting very, very competitive. If you look at the near term, actually they had a better day today than 2 miners did. If you look at the day before, they're still a little bit better. Yeah, these numbers look a lot different than yesterday. Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. 7.78 versus 5.92. So if we look at the last 7 days, 2 miners has actually been a little bit better. If you look at the last 14 days, 2 miners has been a little bit better. So these numbers go back and forth. A lot of it depends on luck. So just something to think about. Think about if there's another pool you may want to mine on, may want to try. I don't know anything about Zet, but wow, they've had some crazy streak of luck with the last 30 days being luckier than average. So that's pretty lucky. So at any rate, let me go back to some of the questions, then I'll come back to this topic a little bit. CC says, I like spreading my rigs rather than stacking up. It does help with less heat going to the top of the rack. Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. Hey, Baldini, glad you could join us. Oh, Seb has a video on that? I'll have to check that out. I was not aware. I must have missed that one. I will definitely check that out tonight. Well, TPS Miner, appreciate you tuning in. Oh, I thought you were saying you were having to leave. You're saying your daughter got to leave. Ethermine baby at DJ Mines. Thanks for tuning in, DJ. Yeah, I mean, I like the people at Ethermine as well. So I do like mining to them, but again, I look at that number and that could alarm the people at Ethereum to the point where they're like, okay, we might have to hurry up and do the proof of stake earlier because their share of the hash rate is growing. And again, it's not anybody in Ethermine that's necessarily making this happen and has anything nefarious in mind. It's the fact, and I don't think anybody's going to hack them, but there's the possibility that if somebody does, then they could do something nefarious with it. If you spread out the hash rate, you don't have that possibility, or at least you significantly lessen the possibility of that. Oh, grossly underestimates FlexPool. Okay. I know there's a couple other websites that actually look at the profitability. I was on FlexPool, but I still get alerts when they have issues. So I see way too many issues. And when I'm on Ethermine or when I'm on 2 miners, I just don't see the same issues. So that's what alarms me a little bit about FlexPool. Again, love those guys. Alex, Chris, good guys. I'm just saying what I'm personally doing and why I'm doing it. Hey, Chump Change, thanks for showing up. Appreciate it. What do you want as a superpower? Yeah, pretty much Ethermine. Yeah, that's pretty much it. They are a superpower. Anyway, John Z, thanks for showing up. Yep, just hit the rewind button. There you go. Let's see if there's any other things. So anyway, going back to 2 miners, as I said, it's weird because you're actually putting in your Bitcoin address when you're mining ETH. So in your BAT file, you're actually putting in your BTC address. That's what you're mining to, even though you're not really mining to it. It's just what they're going to pay out. So definitely find that very interesting. So when I set up one of my Hive, in fact, let me pull that one up. Let me see, which one do I have on that? I think it is this one. So yeah, this one's on 2 miners, and you can see I set up a separate wallet. I called it ETH BTC. So yeah, when I actually look at my wallets. I've actually got a wallet with ETH shown, but it's actually a BTC address, wallet address. So it just feels weird to do that. So that's why I'm mining to get the first payout, make sure it works, make sure I can verify what the costs are. And I should be getting that. So the original program for mining or getting payouts in BTC is that they would pay out at 12 UTC. Oh, if I'm doing my math right, 12 UTC is about 6 a.m. in the morning for me. Thereabouts. I forget with daylight savings time if it's 5, 6, or 7 hours difference. I think it's 6 hours difference from UTC. I could be wrong, but thereabouts, sometime early in the morning. And so I wanted to make sure that I reach the minimum 0.0005 BTC. And actually, I take that back. It was 0.0004, the equivalent of 0.0004 of BTC. It's actually 0.005 Ethereum is what they're saying. Anyway, bottom line, it's a relatively small amount. And so I'll be able to reach that by tomorrow morning, and I want to see what the payout is, and I'll be able to check in back with everybody with a video on Wednesday morning. Let's see here. CC, thank you for not talking about Hive pool plays with the MEV with Eden. Yeah, I'm not going to even touch that. I just look at the data. That's all I look at. If Hive was competitive with their profitability, yeah, Hive pool, absolutely the way to go. But it's not. Now they will argue that, oh no, our profitability, but every tool that measures profitability has Hive lagging everybody else. So yeah, I'm just looking at the data. That's it. That's all I'm looking at. So anyway, but like I said, I'll check back with everybody on that particular. So I'll be having a video on that tomorrow. I'm still trying to figure out if I'm going to have time to do a video for tomorrow, but yeah, I'll have to figure that out. I might have a video on taxes. I might have a video on the assembly of the fan, the window fan. Because we have a tape, I just haven't put it all together. So we'll have to see if I'm able to get that done and put together tonight. So definitely, I had the day off today, which was nice. Had a lot of time to think and kind of strategize and things like that. But unfortunately, I have to go to work the next 2 days. Then I have time off. So yeah, it's easier to go back to work when you know you only have a 2-day week. And I don't have to go in at 5 a.m. I'm going in at 7 a.m. Well, I have to be there at 6:15, but it's a lot better than a 5 a.m. start where I have to be there at 4:15. So that's good. All righty. Well, that I believe, just want to make sure if I didn't have anything else. Nope, that was all I had to cover. So now is the time. What questions do you guys have for me? I know you guys have been asking some of the questions along the way. If you do have any questions for me, please at me in the chat. I'll try to get to ones that don't, but let me see here. Yeah, DJ Mines, I hate paying taxes as well, but yeah, it's making the best of it. So if you have bought a lot of graphics cards this year, that at least will help lessen your taxes, because you'll be able to ride those off, whether you decide to depreciate them or take them as an expense, depending on how your particular accountant thinks is the best way to do it. So at any rate, yeah, I definitely recommend, I do my own taxes, but definitely recommend that if you don't know what you're doing with your taxes, get an expert. They're not that expensive. But I'll be going over for those people that do their own taxes, or are where their tax accountant actually is looking for the information. They're like, hey, if you provide this information to me, then I can lower the cost because I don't have to worry about that. getting something like a Coinly or a Coin Tracker to provide all of your purchases, your mining income, all that kind of stuff to your tax accountant helps out a ton, especially with setting what your basis is. But again, I'll cover that in that particular video. I definitely did it last year, and I originally resisted. I didn't want to pay $99 for this software, or not software, but the actual service that the website provided. After struggling for like 2 weeks trying to do it myself, I said, this just isn't worth my time. And I just decided to do it. So regardless, if you have a number of transactions, you have significant income from mining, definitely recommend getting one of those types of services. There's a number of them out there, but the most popular ones that I know of that I've tested are Coin Tracker and Coinly. They're both good. Coinly is just less expensive, and to me provides the same exact service that Coin Tracker does. So why not pick the less expensive option? So anyway, that's kind of the TLDR of that video, but I'll be going into more detail in that video when I do put it out. All right, let me see if there were any questions that I missed. 7 a.m. Before it hits the wall, but they start the process around 6. Okay, well, good to know. Appreciate that, Pro Rival. Can you figure a way to do the BTC payout and still do ETH plus ZIL? I am not aware that 2Miners does ETH and ZIL together. I don't do ETH and ZIL together. I know Red Panda does, but my understanding was I thought that ZIL was to a separate pool, not the same pool. So yeah, it would be paid out separately from your Ethereum, as I understand it. If anybody knows anything more about that, please type it into the chat. I appreciate it. Tech Shinji, what's your opinion on what to do if you have too many GPUs and not enough power? I thought about throwing the GPUs away since mining is dead. I wouldn't throw them away. You could give them away to me, and I can find them a good home. I will make sure that they're well taken care of. Anyway, I know that was tongue in cheek, but yeah, I will tell you, I'm running out of power. I could start spreading them around my house. That would be one way, but at this point, yeah, I'm running out of power. So I'm only probably going to get 1, maybe 2 more GPUs, and that's it. I should be getting I will be getting a power meter. That was, I don't know if anybody saw Anonymous Miner's video this morning, where he was putting together meters. I had no idea he was doing this. But he told me today that he was sending me a meter that he put together. And so I will be doing a unboxing and showcase of that as well, and looking forward to that. But it basically is a meter for the GPU, so the PCI directly, and then another meter for the riser. So you can measure it directly at that point as opposed to measuring it at the wall. So that will be definitely interesting to take a look at that. So again, thank you to Anonymous Miner. Go check him out. He's a fellow YouTuber. So I know that there was one going to the Hobbyist Miner, and Serpent is also getting one. So yep, I'm definitely looking forward to that. And then hopefully be getting another, I won't say who it is unless the person wants to volunteer who it is. But I will be getting another power meter that I'll be able to plug into the wall and be able to measure all of my power from my PDU, so that I can really make sure that I'm staying within that 80% rule. I need to stay within 5,800 watts. So I want to definitely check that out. So should I give it to Salvation Army guy? Yeah, I definitely think they would look at you funny. You're funny, Tech Shinji. John Z, you still need to fill your first rig. Well, I will definitely tell you that. So let's talk a little bit about how I got this card. And it's kind of a funny story. I told it on Saturday night, but for those that weren't there. So I have been noticing in the Discord, the unofficial Discord for Micro Center, that there's been a steady stream of GPUs a couple times a week. And Saturday's one of those days. So we were heading down near there where we were going to pass pretty much right by a Micro Center. So I said to the wife, hey, you mind if we stop by there? She's like, yeah, no problem. So we went in. There were no GPUs. There was some MSI, overpriced MSI ones. Those things are nuts. As far as it was like over $580 or something for a 3060. It's ridiculous to pay that for a 3060 in my mind. So I turned to one of the managers after I had taken a picture. So he probably thought I was a scalper, but anyway, I took a picture of it because I knew I wanted to post it onto the unofficial Micro Center Discord for the Westmont store. And he just closed his eyes and just gave me like a no shake. And I was like, okay, that was unconvincing. Because I asked him, are there going to be any more GPUs later on today? And I'm like, okay, I know to check back. So that was like 12:30 by one. And I posted this on the Discord. And then at 1:30, and I totally missed it at the time. At 1:30, somebody had gone back to the store based on what I had said. And yep, sure, lo and behold, the whole cabinet was filled with GPUs again. So I caught it about an hour after that. By the time I got there, most of them were gone, but the Asus Dual was one of the ones I had an eye on. So I was perfectly fine with that Asus Dual 3060. There was one or two Asus Tough, and it was a 3060. So you really don't need that big of a cooler on a 3060. And so as far as I'm concerned, that's overpaying for a 3060 because you really don't need that big of a cooler. There were the EVGA 2-fan ones, and that's probably what I would have preferred, as they would have been less expensive. They would have been about $429. These were $469, so I paid a little bit more for them. But anyway, my two favorite brands are EVGA and Asus, so I was okay with either. And I think $470 is still a very reasonable price and should get very close to breaking even if we go proof of stake by June. So at least that's my thought at this point. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with the hash rate and all that. So anyway, I just thought it was funny that, yeah, the manager just did not want to give me an answer and did not open up his mouth at all. And all the other people like looked the other way. So I'm guessing that they get asked this all the time and they're told not to say anything. So yeah, it was very obvious. So anyway, bottom line, if you live near a Micro Center, know that they're getting drops. There is, from what I've heard, if you get there at the start of the day, there's like a raffle where basically they take down everybody's name and then they pull names basically out of a hat in order for picking GPUs. That's what I've heard. I have never been at the store when it first opens. So, but I do know that they are getting, both the Chicago and Westmont store are getting midday drops. So checking randomly during the middle of the day is good. And sometimes like a night or two ago, they dropped them like at 6 p.m. They did it really late in the day. One was like right before closing. So it's very random as to when they actually restock the shelves. So keep that in mind. If you live near a Micro Center, it's going to be, I found it would be a great way to get GPUs. So I got one a month ago, and now I just started trying for a few days after my month went by. You can only buy one every 30 days now, at least at our local stores. I believe it's now company wide that's the policy. And so I have had no trouble getting it both in November and December. So it also depends on how picky you are. I have seen 3090s, but definitely really rare to see a 3080, and they go very quick. So if you're looking for a 3080, that's going to be a lot more difficult. All right. I think I'm getting a little behind. Oh, I know who it is. Okay. Yeah, they don't ship. You have to actually go there and pick up the card. But I'll tell you what, you cannot order one within 30 days. when you go there to buy a GPU, they ask for identification, and they basically want a driver's license. And so then they look it up. They look up your account if you have one and look to see what your buying history is. So there's no getting around it unless you bring a friend. And I have done that in the past when they made it a lifetime ban. Like once you've bought one GPU, you can never buy another one. That was our local Westmont store that did that for a while. But they now have relented on that and made a company-wide policy of once every 30 days. Oh, TBS Miner, my local Micro Center never seems to have NVIDIA cards, only AMD. Well, like I said, I would definitely recommend getting on that Discord. The store, each store has a set of channels, and one of them is stock alerts. So if you keep track of that channel, you'll be able to see when those stores get cards, if there's somebody there who's checking. I mean, that's kind of the key. It's only as good as the community that's helping each other out all the time. I'm lucky with both stores. There are people that are checking every so often. So that definitely is helpful. DJ Mines, yeah, 5 hours each way. Was it uphill both ways too, DJ Mines? Anyway. Oh, Bearju, that would be you to the Chicago one. Yeah. Well, if you're going to go to the Chicago one, I definitely recommend going to the Westmont one. Lower taxes when you buy there. Not much, but every little bit helps when you're spending money on a GPU. That's for sure. Yeah. If you have any questions, feel free to tag me. We are getting near the end. Big Wooly, yeah, I know. 12 minutes to Micro Center for you. Yeah. Yeah, so everybody contact Big Wooly, nag him, see if he'll be willing to go there to buy a GPU for you. I'm just kidding, Big Wooly, but yeah, he I don't know, Big Wooly, are you on the unofficial Micro Center Discord and checking out when they get stock? I know you're a fan of the 6600 XTs, if I remember correctly. Am I ready for Christmas? Yeah, yes and no. We just have a lot of things going on with our family health-wise, which some of you know about. And so a lot of plans are changing constantly. So like my in-laws weren't coming up because my mother-in-law wasn't feeling well, and now she's feeling better. So now they're coming up. So now we have to make different plans. So yeah, I'm glad that's what we wanted in the first place. So it's a very good news story, but yeah. So am I ready? No, definitely not. Have all the presents bought, I think. Actually just did a last round yesterday. So I think we've covered everybody. Unfortunately, my son, we won't see at Christmas, but he's coming. We're going to celebrate in January with him. He was unable to get away from work, so he's been able to get off of work in January. So he'll be coming home in January. So we're looking forward to that. And then hopefully sometime next year, we'll be able to get down and visit him as well. We wanted to actually go down to visit him, but because of his work schedule, it just wasn't going to work out. He's working on Christmas Eve. He is working the midnight shift. So he's got to be on a completely different schedule, obviously, than what we would be on. So it just didn't make sense. We wouldn't be able to enjoy the time with him. It would just be like a rush. And yeah, we would just want enjoyable time with him. So what'll end up happening is we'll do when he gets up and he's getting ready for work, he has dinner. So we're going to have dinner with him via Discord. And so, yeah, we actually just like pull the monitor out, camera, microphone, and put him at the head of the table. And then we do it that way. So everybody's together one way or the other. It seems a little bit more normal in the fact that we're in the pandemic times, but it's still, it's different. It's been a couple of years since he's moved away, and I'm glad he did. He's got a good job, which is great. But it'd be nice if he was closer, no doubt. It's going to be nice that my daughter will be close. In fact, that she'll be living from home. So I'm very happy about that. No question. The Micro Center conspiracy. Anyway, it is, yeah, they remember faces. And if they've seen you before, yeah, they don't really, the people back in that department don't really want to sell you anything. I had that back in February when I got real attitude from somebody, because at that point, Chicago wasn't limiting it at all. You can only buy one at a time for each drop, but you could go back as many times, days in a row that you wanted to, and continue to buy cards. I didn't do that. I only bought one. I only ended up buying one card from Chicago. And that was honestly because I got lucky. I actually went there to buy 5600X because they had that. And while I was there, I found out, oh, wait a minute, they've got 3060 Ti's. So I bought one. So, well, anyway, well, Tech Man, have fun with getting your wrap on. We have quite a few presents already wrapped. Have to get a few more wrapped. My wife is generally the person that wraps the presents because my wrap job is horrible. Oh, Red Llama, you're only 15 minutes away from the New Jersey Micro Center. Yeah, I mean, those of us that are close to Micro Center definitely helps out Danes. Micro Center is a hoax. Just like Bigfoot, they don't exist. I can tell you they definitely exist. I'm surprised that they haven't started to expand more. But maybe they're just being smart and trying to grow slowly. They don't want to grow too fast, I suppose. All right, well, I'm going to wrap this up, guys. Thanks again for everybody showing up. I appreciate it. And let me see if there's any last questions before I go. Can't get on their website right now. You all logged on at once. Whose website are you talking about, TBS? What did I miss? Talking about Micro Center? Slip my 20 and look the other way. No. Oh, Micro Center. Yeah, I haven't tried to get on it recently, but yeah, everybody on my stream is now on that. Anyway. Alrighty, guys. Well, thanks again for showing up. I appreciate it. I will be here next Monday between Christmas and New Year's for the last one of the year. Couple of things actually on the way out. I am trying to get to 3,000 watch hours and 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Anything you guys can do to help me out with that, I'd appreciate it. Certainly hitting the like button before on your way out, hitting the like button and hitting subscribe and the bell notification would definitely be helpful. I am well on track to hitting the 3,000 by the end of the month with putting out. It's amazing when you put out content. Yeah, you actually get more watch hours. It's funny how that works. Anyway, a little sarcasm there. But anyway, my goal then is to get to 4,000 by the end of January. So which I think I should be able to do. But we'll see. So again, thanks again for everybody showing up, and you guys all have a great night.